Okay, next under the special menu, we've got the region list and the playlist cut list. This is, we've kind of touched on a few things from these areas in other movies, but here we'll dig in and kind of show how all of these aspects, how you can create these areas and what you can do with them once you've got them. All right, so here we are in SoundForge. Go up to the special menu and we'll go to the regions list. Now, I've got not many options open to me right now. I can either insert a region or I can open a region. And we'll look at opening it a little bit later, but let's look at the insert command first. So I can click on insert here, and it gives me an option. It's kind of a dual purpose function box here. You can insert a marker or you can insert a region. Now, right now, it's only going to let me insert a marker because I really haven't defined any region. If I choose region, then I would need to define a time location here. There's another way I could do this, and let's cancel out for a second. Go into my sample file here, and let's just take the first half of this VO and select it. Then if I come back up here to the regions list again, do insert, now I can either insert a marker, which would be at the position where the cursor is, which is at the start of the file right now, or I can insert a region, which, because I have made a selection, it now has defined that area and will define that area as a region. So the starting time, the ending time, and how long that region is. In this case, what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of our demonstration here, I'm going to go ahead and define this as a region. So if I define this as a region and I say, and the nice thing here is being able to name them. So first half VO. There we go. And there we go. Now there's my region, first half VO. If I want to real easily, I can double click inside of it. It now will select that region. And now I have a few more other options here. I can save it. I can open another thing. I could copy this region onto the clipboard, or I could clear the whole thing out. So, it gives me a lot of other options here at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and undo this, and I'm going to undo this selection. And then I'm going to go back up here, and we're going to go to Open. Now what I've done is I've actually gone ahead of time onto this file and saved out a region list. SoundForge allows you to actually save regions that then, for lack of a better description, become overlaid on top of the file. So I have this region file that I have saved as the VO sample file. Once I open it, there it is. And now it's got all the regions that I've already predefined. So I can double click on these regions. I can look at the regions. I can edit them by double clicking on the region. It shows me what it is and gives me all the information about it, time format. Also can assign triggers to it here in terms of MIDI triggers and things like that. Or once I've got this region open, I can play it. Voiceovers or some other kinds of tracks. So it gives me, the options to be able to look at my information that way. Now, if we remember, we go back into the previous view menu and we open up the regions list. Now we see here all of the regions that we've got selected by name and with their start, end, and their length, and with a little play button next to each one so that we can, showing how you can just play it and sample it here real quick. And it gives us, other choices and options here. When I go back up here to the regions list now I have a bunch of other choices. Besides, I can choose a region down in the region list, and I can delete it, I can edit it. Editing it brings up, the same dialog box that we used to create it. Or I can replicate it. I can make a copy of it if I want to duplicate it. I could split it. And in some cases, you may want to just refresh the window if you've been moving things around and you've been experimenting with things, and you can just, update it this way. If I go to clear, what that'll do is that'll clear all the regions out of this file. So if I for whatever reason don't want to deal with the regions and I want to be able to see the file without the regions and just have it, be just the way it was originally, I can hit the clear button. It'll give me a warning, and it'll also tell me it'll clear the playlist too, and I say yes, and boom, everything's gone. Now, that's all, that would be, applicable for some things, and especially if it's sometimes visually too disturbing or too confusing. But I can always go back up here to the regions list and do open, and my original region list is still saved here, so I can come back and apply it right away. Next going down is the playlist cut list. Now, playlist cut list is, again, I can add things to the playlist and cut list. I just hit add, and I have quick test selected down here in the regions list. But you didn't see anything happen. Well, it's because I don't have the playlist open. Once I open it, now you can see that, oh yeah, it added quick test over here to the playlist. So the playlist we've kind of talked about before, but it's a really cool and powerful way to be able to preview. So for example, if I take this area here and I want to take that part of the region list and I want to add it to the playlist. So now I've added it in there. So now I can, and let's do one more. Let's take number 5 here. And let's go up here and let's add him to the playlist. Now, when I go to the playlist here, if I hit the play button using the paste special command, voiceovers or some other kinds of tracks, this is just a quick test. It'll play them in the order that I've set them up. I can drag them and rearrange the orders here and do all kinds of other things. Now that I've got my playlist set up, I have now a bunch of other options in here. I can add, delete, edit, and in bringing it up here in the edit mode, it allows me to set how many times I want it to play, if there's going to be a trigger to enable it to play, such as a MIDI or a SMPTE trigger. I can set pre-roll playback up, all those kinds of things in the edit window. But I also am able to duplicate it, replicate it. I can clear the whole thing again, just the same way as we did before. Another place to set the pre-roll, as you saw in the edit window. I can also save my playlist here as well too. I can save it as something separate from my regions list. So I can save a playlist that I want to recall at a later time. So if I have a bunch of cues, again, like I was using for an example of, let's say, a live play that I was adding sound effects to and doing Foley stuff for. I can also insert a stop point. So if I, say, pick the middle clip here, come up and go to insert stop point. Now if I hit play here, what it'll do is it'll play the first clip, but it'll stop when it gets to the second one, and it won't play the third one using the paste special command. So it's a good way of kind of grouping the stuff in the playlist, or being able to make sure that you don't blow through a cue or something along those lines. So go back up here and undo that as well too. Additionally here, I can also copy it onto the clipboard. I can also convert it to new, and what that does is it basically takes what's in my playlist, and let's say I have this one selected, the VOs and tracks, and if I go back up here and I do convert to new, it'll actually convert it literally to a whole new track. So it'll open up a whole new file using just the stuff from the playlist. And it converts all of that stuff from the playlist. I don't want to save it. No, I don't want to. So I'm going to go back here, and my playlist is back here again. So we've got our playlist here. Now the last thing we can do is we can go ahead and treat our playlist as a cut list. And it's kind of the inverse of a playlist. And so basically what it's done is I've now converted everything that I had in the playlist into parts of the file that I don't want to play. I can go up to my transport and use the play as cut list mode, which we talked about before, showing how you can take and mix them together. And it only plays the sections that are not and mix them together part of the cut list. With another track, showing how you can take and mix them together with. So you can kind of preview what your sound's going to sound like in a non-destructive editing way. And it's kind of, sometimes I like this way better. It's a more visual way of being able to see, oh yeah, okay, this is not included in my edits. This is not included in the sound. So viewing it as a cut list is in many times very helpful. And I can actually delete the cut regions if I want to. It's another option once it's in cut list mode, but we'll convert it back into playlist.